Book of Heaven, Volume 12, March 18, 1919. In his conception, Jesus conceived all souls, their pains and their deaths. Continuing in my usual state, my always lovable Jesus, making himself seen, drew me into the immensity of his most holy will, in which he showed, as though in act, his conception in the womb of the celestial Mama. O God, what an abyss of love! And my sweet Jesus told me,
Daughter of my will, come to take part in the first deaths and in the pains which my little humanity suffered from my divinity in the act of my conception. As I was conceived, I conceived all souls, past, present, and future, together with me as my own life. And I also conceived all the pains and the deaths which I was to suffer for each one of them. I had to incorporate everything within me, souls, pains, and death which each one was to suffer, so as to say to the Father, My Father, you will no longer look at the creature, but only at me, and in me you will find all, and I will satisfy for all. As many pains as you want, I will give them to you. Do you want me to suffer death for each one? I will suffer it. I accept everything, provided you give life to all. This is why a divine power and will were needed in order to give me so many deaths and so many pains, and a divine power and will to make me suffer. And since in my will all souls and all things are in act, so not in an abstract or intentional way, as some might think, but in reality I kept all within me, identified with me, they formed my very life. In reality I died for each one, and I suffered the pains of all. It is true that in this concurred a miracle of my omnipotence, the prodigy of my immense volition. Without my will, my humanity could not have found and embraced all souls, nor could it die so many times. So, my little humanity, as it was conceived, began to suffer alternations of pains and deaths, and all souls swam within me as if inside an immense sea, forming the members of my members, the blood of my blood, the heart of my heart. How many times my Mama, taking the first place in my humanity, felt my pains and my deaths, and died together with me. How sweet it was for me to find in the love of my Mama the echo of mine. These are profound mysteries in which the human intellect, not comprehending well, seems to get lost. Therefore come into my will and take part in the deaths and in the pains which I suffered as soon as my conception was accomplished. From this you will be able to better comprehend what I tell you.
I am unable to say how I found myself in the womb of my Queen Mama, where I could see the infant Jesus so very little. But though tiny, he contained everything. A dart of light flashed from his heart into mine, and as it would penetrate into me, I felt myself being given death, and as it would come out, life came back to me. Each touch of that dart produced a most sharp pain, such that I felt myself being undone and dying in reality. And then, with its same touch, I felt myself coming to life again. But I don't have the right words to express myself, and therefore I stop here.